Hi, I'm Mandi Rae with OPA, the Organization for Professional Astrology, here today with Geni. Geni, tell me your last name again. Picazo?
Picasso, like the painter, but with the Z.
I love it. Okay, I wanted to make sure and get that right. And Geni is with OPA as well, the Organization for Professional Astrology. Geni is a peer group leader. Geni, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm a Canadian astrologer, and I have been an astrologer for over 45, 50 years, something like that. I have been doing tarot and astrology. I have been involved with a number of different organizations and different astrological schools as a mentor or a director. Currently, I'm the president of OPA membership, and I am the director of operations for Kepler College.
Wonderful. That is prolific. That's what I would call that. And today we are going to tell you how peer groups fit into the overall OPA certification process, which is extremely valuable. I am an OPA certified astrologer as well. I have found the camaraderie in OPA to be really wonderful. So, Geni is also a peer group leader. So, we're going to talk about how that fits into the certification process.
For sure. So the certification process is the certifying of an astrologer to say that they are a qualified astrologer. They meet all the criteria that OPA has set down in ethics, in astrological knowledge, in consulting skills, in astronomy, in every part that requires astrological knowledge. The peer group process is very unique to OPA. Peer group is small. It is a peer group leader with 4 astrologers that come, professional astrologers that come together, and they spend 3 days together. We cover off ethics, which are very important. How does what's ethical for an astrology practice? How do we, as astrologers, make sure that we don't cross that ethical boundary? Do we even know what the ethical boundary is? Because when you work by yourself, if you're self-studied, if you are studied with another astrologer or astrological school that has not touched on ethics, how do you know these things? So we work on those, we work on difficult charts. What are the difficult charts that you have had? And then we discuss as a group and put all of our input in to help you learn, put another tool into your toolbox. Oh, that was a great idea, or that's a really good way of dealing with this. We also then work with, how do you manage your consultation? What are your plans? How do you draw your client into your space and make them feel comfortable? We work with that. We help you get to get those little niggles out that you've always had and have not had a real good chance to talk to somebody else. How do I work with that? Because it always happens to me. And then the third day, we talk about business plan. Where do you envision your astrological practice going? Are you a consulting astrologer? How do you want to get that forward? Are you just someone who wants to go on the speaking circuit and write? How do we help you get there? How do we help you envision that and put that in place? Are you somebody that wants to do sacred site tours? Who knows? How can we help you get there? OPA is there for you, and we work with you on a one-on-one within this small group. We look at your website. If you have one, do you need one? You might be an astrologer that does really well just on YouTube. Angela Tiki from Greece, she only works with Instagram and YouTube and has a thriving practice. So how do we help you manage your astrological vision? Not your business, but your vision. And now you have got 3 other people in your network or 4 other people in your network. In this way, you have someone to reach out to, you have someone to come together with when we have conferences. It's awesome. So peer groups are both online or in person. The in-person ones are at conferences. We got one coming up in October. we'll talk about that in a few minutes.
Yes, I mean, I have personally done the online and the in-person version, and I like the mixture of it because some astrologers do work on Zoom, and so you have that context, and some astrologers work in person, and it has been extremely awesome for me personally, who's taken a peer group, to connect with other astrologers and see how they do it because it does help to clarify your vision. And one thing I really loved about the peer group personally was the ethical um, edifying, because it does edify you and help you to understand that there is an ethics to practicing astrology. It's special. You hold someone in their very personal time and space. And then also I guess the working with triggers or having a difficult client. And I think both of those topics are hand in hand. And that's been something wonderful for me. Do you have something you can add to that?
Sure. I think one of my biggest fears as an astrologer, which a peer group really did help me out with, was when you have a really difficult client or a difficult situation. It's not even a difficult client, that how do you even know that you might be treading on very thin ice, especially with triggers? In the peer groups, it was the memory came forward that definitely, if you feel uncomfortable in doing it, there is nothing wrong with saying back away and suggesting something else to your client. What you do not want to do is be in the middle of a consult and you have triggered that client into a complete anxiety breakdown. Now you have no follow-up. Now you don't know where to go. So understanding how you can set your own boundaries, not where boundaries are, but what are your boundaries? How far will you go? And where do you feel comfortable in saying, no? And with this client specifically, I sat down with her. We talked a lot. I did some cards first to kind of get an idea of where her mind was. And I actually should have done a horary chart of exactly when she asked for the reading. And I did this afterwards, I would have seen exactly the pitfalls and what she was coming to see. And that was a learning for me. And I should have done that, but I did not. But that was a learning. So definitely one of the things that you learn in peer groups.
It is because it reflects to you what tools you could use better, maybe, or just remember to use, and the process
Yeah.
you can go through. I know one of the things they asked me was, do you cleanse your space? How do you prepare for a session? And for me, that was a big deal because I tend to just, go into it. And so I was like, oh, yeah, maybe I should do that. But it does help to reflect to you and then seeing how others do it, and you do read for one another and including the peer group leader. So, I mean, I think that's one of my favorite parts as well, because then you're also getting something back in that way. I mean, to have a reading is special to me. I mean,
Mhm.
that's why we pay for them. That's why astrologers charge, which is something else we talk about in peer group. And then you receive that. So it really just builds you up. Um, and then you do get to talk about triggers and what tools you can use. And then there's the business plan, which is part of this. So how do you lead
Yes.
people into talking about the business plan, and what does that look like?
So my process, every peer group leader is a little bit different, I think. My process is that we talk about where do you see your business going? Because if you don't know where your business is going, then how can you plan for the future? And every business is different. Some only want to be a part-time astrologer reading at a local community center, and that is success to them. And so what do you need for that to be successful? And how much money do you think you want to get from this? Like stability, because we do this for financial reasons, like a job. So how much money do you want to get from that? Is it satisfying you? And is there a gap? How can we close the gap? So if you are full on an astrologer and you want this to be your full-time business, what is it that you need to do to get there? Do you need a website? Do you do social media? Let's look at all of those things. Are they effective? Do you have business cards? Are they effective? Or what can we help you with? Does your website and everything promote professionalism when somebody looks at it? Or are they seeing something that you don't want them to see? So let's look at it. Let's give us your opinion. And these opinions are heartfelt. They're not pointed. They're not, you have to make this change, and they're not hurtful. They're not made to you've done something wrong. It is all about how can we make you better? And here are some of the tools. And this is what I use. Oh, did you know about Afterpay? So somebody can pay you, but still pay in payment plans for themselves, so they don't have to pay the full amount. All of these things are things that we learned from other astrologers, and tools that they use that they've learned from other astrologers as well.
Yes, and you do learn that just from feedback, well, here's what I do. This is who I use to build my website, and so many ideas
Yes.
floating around. And then you have, the back end where you have these people as potential contacts and friends, and also sometimes you might even rub up against someone in a peer group. And what does that teach you about your own self and your own, even peer-to-peer wise, so it does put you in a situation that might feel a little new. And I think that's healthy for us as we grow and become better astrologers in every sense, and people. And I think everyone should have peer groups. Every type of business should have peer groups, so that it teaches you.
I agree with you. I 100%. I'm a follower of Artie Mandel. Artie Mandel is a Hungarian psychotherapist, and all of his teachings, everything that he teaches is, if the arm is broken, just patch it up and put it at the side, because the work that we're going to do is what happened to you that you were out of balance that caused that arm to break. And using that same model in a peer group or in a consulting skills or in anything in life is, okay, I felt great emotion at this point against this person, like whether it's positive or negative or whatever. What caused that? Like what is the trigger within myself that I thought that I had dealt with, and now it's bubbling up? So deal with the emotion, figure that out, and then you'll find that you can handle whatever else comes within life. And I think a peer group really helps you bring those fears about yourself as an astrologer, as a professional astrologer, and feeling that somebody's judging you. And we're not. Nobody's judging. All we're there is to come together and embrace astrology as a profession and bring professionalism to astrology. That's the beauty of certification, because now how many YouTube astrologers do you have out there that have taken a course or picked up one book and gone to a conference, and now they put out their plaque as, I am an astrologer? So somebody not knowing, how did they know? There is so much hurt that goes out through an astrological reading, that we're trying to get professionalism in astrology and to allow the general public to know this is an astrology that you can trust.
Yeah, and I think that's very important. And it's not your typical oversight. It's a plea to join the community in a healthy way, I think,
Yes.
And one of the things when you said we're not judged, and I'd never felt that way. In fact, we spent some time talking about our biases. And that was extremely cathartic, because it is something that you can share in a protected space, knowing there's no judgment, and talking about it, where it comes from, and how you might, maybe not even know you're biased about something.
Yeah, that's true. That peer group is a Vegas space. What what goes on in Vegas stays in Vegas. That's a peer group space, and it is very, very protected and safe there because you can be very open. There's no recordings of this. There's nothing taken down and nothing. It is just a space that you can relieve yourself of your tensions and your fears, for sure.
Absolutely. And whenever you do that, then it's hard not to make a good connection for life almost, and then you have the opportunity to see these people at conferences because we are a small community, and I like that. I mean, we're not the hugest organization out there. And then you can go to the retreats and conferences, which OPA has one, is it every year?
We try to have one every year, whether it's virtual. The in-person are about every 2 years. Yeah.
Okay. And we have
Yeah.
one coming up that I'm very excited
We
about.
too.
And you get to see the people again, and you're like, oh yeah, the last conference was wonderful. And this one's a retreat conference, which we get to chill
Yeah.
out. And, when you do a peer group and it can, whatever it stirs up, then you can go to the hot tub after, and that'll be really nice.
Park City, Utah is a great place, and we're at the hotel. The hotel has hot tubs on the balconies, so you can sit outside and look at the mountains and just enjoy the cool air and the warm water. The beauty about OPA's conferences, we're starting to call them retreats because that's what we've always done. We've gone to Utah, we've gone to Zion, we've been in Tucson, we've been in I think in Sedona. Like our retreats are little. We try to hold them to very small, about 100, 150 maximum people. And this is on purpose. It's for networking. It's for the ability to get together. We as astrologers are very solitary people. Unless you have a partner that's an astrologer, there's no one to talk your business to unless you do sun sign stuff like, oh yeah, my sun sign is this is great. But to really get into the depth of astrology and talk astrology, people's eyes roll into the back of their heads. So I'm a computer analyst, and the same thing when I talk computers and analysis and our eyes rolling back, and astrology is the same. So getting together in a small retreat is really great because you can sit around and you can talk astrology. The things that you love to do is talk astrology and just get immersed because it's a language in its own, right? So join us in Utah. It's October 16th to the 21st, Park City, Utah. Check us out on OPA's main website, opaastrology.org. And certainly come and join us there because we have some great astrologers. We have Kira Sutherland, we have Lynn Bell, Kay Taylor, Rick Levine, Christopher Renstrom, all working, and Anna Ortley is going to be there giving. Now this retreat is track based, so you sign up for a specific intensive track for 3 days that you spend with this astrologer. And then peer groups. We have Louisa Edlington and Alexandra Karakostas, Arlen Wise, and myself that are doing peer groups. So certainly check out the website. Peer groups in person are the best. I mean, I love the ones online, but the peer group in person is the best. You just get to sit there and giggle and talk and just work out all of those wonderful things. And you've been in both, Mandi Rae, and and I in this interview, I do want to give Mandi Rae a call out. You were a runner for our most promising astrologer and astrologer in Tucson. So, thank you so very much for volunteering your time and working with us to get the word out, I guess, about
Absolutely.
our conference.
I love OPA. I have loved it so much. So, I mean, it is important to me to have a group, and OPA has been a really, really solid group. And, when you go to these retreats, you might even, there's so many wonderful speakers, so many wonderful track leaders. And then you might just be in a conversation with someone attending the retreat. And they also, they might teach you something. It is so much knowledge in a place that I get very excited about it for that reason as well. So yeah, I'm a big fan, Mandi Rae, here with OPA because I volunteer with OPA, and I do it in a way that is wholeheartedly giving, because I think astrologers are a little too solitary. We need the
Yes.
group, and OPA is a great one. And I love that it's founded on ethics, because that's another important thing to me
Yeah.
personally. And the peer group is where you can learn that. Consulting skills is really the place to learn that, but peer group
Yeah.
is in practice. And there are four four requirements for certification. It's three
Yep.
peer groups,
Correct.
consulting
Cons
skills,
and astronomy
and
for
astronomy.
astrologers.
Okay, so
Yeah.
there's three things to do, and certification, at least there's something that feels like it is again some oversight. Some I've been checked out, made sure I know my ethics, and gone through it, and it's really nice to have. And then the retreat. So yes, opaastrology.org. You can go check out everything about the retreat, including seeing pictures of the beautiful aspen leaves turning yellow, which it will be in October, which
Yeah.
is when this is.
Yeah.
It's New Park Resorts, October 16th through 21st. And there it's going to be in a beautiful area with hiking trails. And what are you most looking forward to?
Oh, I moved from the mountains. I was out in Calgary for a number of years, and I love the mountains. I live in the Great Lakes area in Ontario, and that is its own unique thing. So I love that. So going back to the mountains is really intriguing me. It's high up. Remember that we're at high altitude, and the air is so crisp and so nice to just cleanse your lungs and whatever. I do my shamanic work, so I'm looking forward to doing a little bit of just a hike into just a space I can sit down and just do a great meditation and bring in the mountain energy in and say, come on, strengthen me up. I'm an old woman.
Absolutely. I think all of us feel that way after the last few years, It's like,
For sure, for sure. And right now with Saturn in Pisces and Jupiter moving into Gemini, we're getting beat around a little bit. And so just going into a mountain area that's just going to allow my energy to calm a little bit, because everything seems to be fluffy and running in different directions.
it does. It absolutely does. And, this conversation has been wonderful. I really appreciate you joining me for this, which I like to call a conversation, not an interview, because we did just converse about how cool peer groups are, and then the OPA retreat. So please don't forget to go to opaastrology.org. And thank you, Geni Picazo with OPA and many other things that you do. And you can find Geni at, what's your website, Geni?
GeniPicasso.com.
All right, easy enough. We'll see you guys later. Thanks for tuning in. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we appreciate you.
Thank you, Mandi Rae.
Thank you.